Hey there guys, and welcome back to some more Factorio 0.17 vanilla start to finish. I'm Xterminator, and we have all the science done. Super exciting. So, I streamed yesterday, and I got some stuff done. Now, I know you guys said you wanted to see pretty much everything on camera. You really didn't miss much. We set up a copper outpost, which, good thing you didn't see it. Well, whoever watched the stream did. It was a bit of a mess. But we set up this copper outpost here. Very standard, it's just using the same mechanics I've shown already, so nothing really new there. We're merging this in to these rails, which I've made 2-lane, and then I also made, I got some coal the stream before that, and made this a 2-lane and tied it in. I think, I don't remember the last episode if I explained the signaling and junctions. We can go over that here in a minute. I want to show you the science. So the science was pretty much done last episode. I just turned it on. So you can see it's all backed up here. I've been kind of waiting to do research until we're on episode. So these guys are all going. Surprisingly, resources are actually keeping up, which I'm really surprised about. There was obviously a buffer, but even still, it's I'm really surprised the low densities are keeping up because this thing's just so expensive. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so all this is tied in. Looking at production, we're making about 48 a minute, which is right because we did 1 per minute base rate, and these machines are 0.75 speed rather than 1 speed, so pretty much calculates out there. And yeah, things are looking really good. So let's look at these. So basically, things are a bit of a mess. This is pretty much how all my beginning rails look. Normally, if we were to go into like a much later like mega base stage, I would be having like main lines going back and forth, everything interconnected that is much nicer looking, less spaghetti. But basically what we've done here is we've got this coal. I need to put a radar, and there's a car there. He comes down, and we've made this section 2-lane because obviously now there's multiple trains. There's the oil train over here going across, and then there's the coal train that needs to take the same area to go upwards. So we needed 2 lanes, right? You don't want to run multiple trains on just 1 lane. So we're doing right-hand drive, just because that's what I'm used to where I live, so it makes the most sense in my brain. So this one goes this way, this one goes this way, and for signaling, it's very simple. Now, we've done a single lane, which has made it even more simple than it would normally be if we had done another double lane upwards. So this single lane just goes up to the coal. But basically for signaling, I don't remember if I covered this last episode, but my principle for signaling is basically normal signals before every rail merge and chain signals before every rail crossing. Now there are some excessive signals here, like I don't believe you actually need these two. But let's just really quickly go over these principles. So you can kind of just see by looking at it, before any crossing, I put a chain signal, because this needs to like look ahead to the next signal, and stop a train here so that it doesn't block this section, right? Because obviously there's only 1 train going through, but I still like to use these principles. If a train were to stop here, then another train cannot pass through here. However, with chain signals before the crossings, the train stops before it crosses, and sorry about that. I could have sworn I muted my Discord. It crosses. It stops before the crossing so that another train can pass through the crossing while it stopped here. So chain before a cross, same here, chain before a cross, and then these are merging together, right? They're not crossing, they're merging together, so we put a normal signal from each track that's going to merge together. Okay, and that's pretty much how that works. So it's, like I said, it's fairly straightforward, same principle down here, just, a little bit of a different direction, but same exact principles, and that's pretty much it. I do like to put chain signals kind of on my exits a lot of times, just to stop the train from going too far forward. Again, it's not really necessary in this particular case, but it doesn't hurt anything. So there's all that. That's all set up. So we have the coal coming in for power. It's dropping off here. We have the copper coming in. I haven't actually set this up. So what we want to do this episode is I want to turn on these robo frames and actually get some robots being made. And my inventory is so full of stuff. This always happens when I make outposts. We need to go dump this in the furnaces or something. We're going to set these guys up, and we're going to make some robots. Let's actually get these guys cranking along here. Excuse me. I need to be closer. There we go. We'll just do something like that. Okay, so these guys are going to come over, and we're just going to make 2 types of robots. Unfortunately, these don't fit. I could move this belt. So normal robots, normal construction robots need circuits, and logistic robots need advanced circuits, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Now, once we actually get a few logistic robots and roboports, we can actually put some of these red circuits into a passive provider chest, and I'll explain the logistic chest once we get all of them. And then the bots can actually bring them over. But we actually have circuits right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this guy into construction robots. They just need the frames, which we're going to have right here. And then they need circuits. And I'll just bring this down. I'm not going to bother with doing like a filter splitter because it's just like a few tiles. I don't mind if the steel comes down this far a little bit. And then this guy is going to output, and he can really just output about anywhere. So I'm going to put this in a passive provider. So this logistic stuff, it's just giving a signal. This means that there's no roboport, robo network in range, obviously, because we don't have any roboports. But basically, these are how you operate with your robots. So you build the roboports, which I can't at the moment. I need some steel. And these things are going to provide two different types of zones for you. The first one being a construction zone, and it will be displayed in green, and it's larger. And then the second one being a logistic zone, and it's going to be in orange and smaller. So basically how that works is your logistic robots can operate only in the orange area. And then your construction bots can operate out to the green area. Now, of course, they can operate within the orange area too, but essentially the construction bots have a much larger range. You can see here it's at least like double or so. Excuse me. So construction bots can go all the way out to the edge of that green zone there, as I'm pointing at the screen like an idiot. And then the logistics bots can only operate within this orange area. So you kind of want to place these strategically throughout your base. I don't really want to put it here because I may want to expand the science, but somewhere like down here-ish would work, because this covers both the red circuits and the robot thing. I may move these around, but we're just going to stick him there. And power-wise, we're actually a little close to maxing out our power, and these roboports take quite a lot of power. Especially, it's taking a lot now because it's charging its internal buffer to charge robots when they fly over here. But passively, it does take a fair bit too. So these are going to go in here, and this basically is like a normal chest, except that it lets logistic bots grab from it, or construction bots if they need to. But we're going to put these guys in here. Now, of course, any of our bots aren't really going to be grabbing other bots, but they will for bringing to me, I guess is the right way for me to say it. So like they can pull from here to bring to me when I put logistic requests in here, and that's pretty much how that works. So this guy's charged up. You can see passively now he takes about 50 kilowatts. So one thing we can do that's really cool is if you have inserters in a box within a logistics network, you can actually set here logistics network conditions. And this acts as a cap, basically, or a condition that you can set based on what's actually in storage in boxes in your logistics network. So, for example, if we, you can see here, logistics system storage, if I mouse over this, it's showing the bots, and then all that other stuff it's showing is actually in my trash slots. It's counting my logistic trash slots here. But if we had other chests or whatever throughout the base that were in the network, it would show that. So if we go here, and we want to say construction robots, if they're less than 100, he can work. And obviously it's less than 100, so it can work. Once this reaches 100 in the network, then it will stop working. So you don't have to mess with chest caps or even normal circuit wire conditions if you're using logistic conditions, which is really nice. Okay, so let's start off getting some research. Let's get these, where is he? Logistic system, because this gives us the rest of the chests. Now the two chests we do have are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So the passive provider is, as it would indicate, a passive providing source of materials, meaning whatever's in it can be passively collected by robots whenever they need it. To be used for building or to bring to me or whatever, or to fill requests by me or by logistic request chests, which we'll go over once we unlock them. The storage chests are basically exactly the same, except that these can house, they're long-term storage, and they can house like anything. Now, obviously, these can house anything as well, but a good example would be like, I had this chest here, and I had bots. They would put everything from my logistic trash slots into storage chests. Okay, they're never going to, bots are never going to bring anything to to provider chests, because they're just used passively for anything you directly insert into them. Whereas a storage chest is going to be used for like when you deconstruct stuff in your base, the bots will bring all those materials to storage chests, or if you have trash stuff in your slots, they'll bring it to the storage chest. So on and so forth, and they can get all mixed up, or you can filter them though, which is really nice. You can filter a chest to only store one item. And those are those two. Once we unlock the others, we'll go over them. But that's basically how those work. So we're setting those up. Now we need to do some logistics bots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this guy up over here. And I just said I didn't want to place anything there. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to do a nifty little underground guy like that. Going to come over. I mean, these are really slow. We're not getting bots super fast, but that's okay. He's going to come over here. And this guy's going to be logistics. Robots. Now, obviously, this one's going to have priority because we're just not producing many frames, but that's okay. We really don't need a ton of these. So he's going to grab the frames, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set up an inserter here, and we're going to connect it once we get it to a requester chest, and this is going to request items. So, let's power him up. We can go ahead and set up. We'll just pull it off of. Oh, that's that. See, now our copper's not keeping up. Is this in the network? It's not. I hate to pull it off. I really don't want to pull it off of this. We're actually going to need another road port because take a ton of gears. I want to stick it over to here so we can actually pull off of the red circuit stuff rather than this. So copper, these are not even close to full belts to begin with. We're actually somehow out of coal. It's not surprising. I didn't hook up all the belts. So I'll have to go fix that. But basically, we can actually turn some of these on. Let's see. Grab a couple frames here. Okay, just two, that's fine. So we can make two of these guys. We can make more, but we'd have to hand make the frames, which are a pain. So these things, we can stick them in the road port. Obviously, nothing's going to happen right now. It could, though. So, for example, say I request, I have outstanding requests for construction bots. If I request, say, 2, these guys are going to fly out. They're super slow right now, but they're going to fly out, and they're going to bring this to me as long as I'm in the orange zone. Boom. And we got an achievement. So that's kind of how those guys work. It'll be a lot more visible once we get some chests going and stuff. So let's go hook up these lines. So that's the one thing I want to do is get that started. Once we research this, we'll be able to actually complete it. And then I want to try to get this copper all set up because we're low on copper. All right. It's kind of a twofold problem. It's kind of no fuel and no copper. Right. So I did hook the coal into the power system, but I didn't actually hook it into this system. And I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to do this. This is kind of a wonky way to do it, but we're again going to priority input this way because I want these to mine out first. And then any excess that we need, which is going to be quite a bit, is going to come from our train here. This guy's going to come over, hook up, and there we go. So this is going to plastic and the main bus for grenades, and then it's going to all the furnaces and stuff. So that takes care of that. Now let's get this guy set up. I'm actually going to pick some of this up, which is, you know, just filling my inventory even more because that's what I need. Okay. Now let's dump these in here. I want to make a 4-lane balancer. for this, just because we balanced it on the input side on the loading, but we want to balance it here too. So if we do like, start it here, this works. So we're gonna have this guy, and then we're gonna come out here, go like, whoop, one too far, go like that. These are gonna come over. I've made, I think, at least 1 or 2 of these on camera. These come out like this, and then we have last 2 splitters here. So this is just gonna balance all these lanes together. Now we need to figure out how to actually send these in to where we want them to go. And again, I'd like to prioritize this patch, and this is just where things get a little bit messy. Just trying to prioritize these patches to be mined out first. Just clean this up a little bit here. Okie doke. So, I mean, this is almost a full belt. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's have everything. Let's have everything from this just go to the first smelter. And actually, hindsight, this would have been way better. There we go. So we finished the research. Fantastic. That's going to unlock several more chests for us. Power pole is very much in the way. There we go. And then that first line can supply all that. So we should now have 2 full belts coming in, which should be able to supply all this. We are getting the coal coming in, albeit slowly. It is making its way down here. It'll just take a little bit to kind of filter through. But that should get that running fully. Research-wise, I think that's okay for now. So to finish up the explanation here, so we talked about these 2. We've now unlocked an active provider chest, and this works pretty much exactly the same as a passive, except that it is actively, it pretty much says there, it's sending its contents to the logistics network. So it's actively trying to empty itself, basically. Anything you put in here is going to be constantly sending out a signal to robots to come pick them up and stick them in storage or fulfill requests for another chest or for me. Basically, they're actively trying to just get rid of whatever is in them and put it somewhere, either, like I said, storage or requests. These are not, personally, I don't like using these for much of anything. There's a few cases where they're really good. Some people use them on train unloading. I'm not a fan of that. I would definitely not use them for like direct from machines unless you just want all your stuff going into storage chests, in which case you could just put the storage chests and filter it if you wanted. There are some cases where these can be useful. Like if you, say, want to clear out chests. So say you have like requester chests or something full of stuff that you don't want to pick up and hand carry, you could just replace a passive or an active provider on top of it, and then it would just tell the bots, okay, come pick up everything out of this chest. So that's how those work. Let's cover the requester chest next. So this thing, like I said, it's a requester, and it's very straightforward for the most part, where you just set it up, and we're going to do it right here. This is requesting items from the network. And you just click on it, and it's very much like your own personal logistic requests. And this, you just set whatever you want. So in this case, we're going to do advanced circuits, and then you set the amount. We're just going to do 10 for now. And this is going to put out an active request order for anything that has red circuits in it, whether it be storage chests or passive provider chests or whatever. Obviously, we don't have any, but this is then going to request some. Bots will bring it here, and they'll be used up to 10. And if it drops below 10, it'll send out requests for the remaining amount that it needs. Now, there is this checkbox here, request from buffer chest. So our last chest here is buffer chest. Request specific items be available for personal logistics and automated construction. So these are interesting. These act as basically both a requester and a provider chest. So to clarify that, requester chests cannot have anything taken from them by robots. They only request items, and they're basically shut off for robots, aside from the robots bringing anything to them. So they just have robots bring stuff to them. Robots cannot take anything out of them. They're just for bringing items in. This guy, however, can act as both. He can request items, as you can see here, just like this, but robots can also take from them, just like a passive provider. So that's why there's this option here, request from buffer chests. You can have robots actually request from buffer chests to bring to specific requester chests. And this can be good for like bot network bridges, where you basically have multiple robot networks that are bridged with inserters. And stuff like that. There's several other uses, like for some outpost stuff, it can be cool. These are really, really interesting chests that can be used in many different situations. But the main ones you're really going to be playing with, at least based on my experience, is path providers, requesters, and then some storage chests. So there's all that. We've made another road port. Let's see, can this extend over to here? Not quite. Dang it, it's too short. We could just pull off the end of blue science. This is not really any, there's no ideal spot for this, honestly. I guess we'll just do that. Why does this look crooked? I don't know. I'm going insane. Alright. We'll probably rearrange this network a little bit later. I guess just to demonstrate, I will just pull off of the blue science. We could have just pulled off the blue circuits too, but I do want to actually pull off from this one. But for now, we'll just do this, and we're going to stick them again in passive providers. We need some steel. Always need steel. So he's going to go here, and same thing, we're going to set this guy with a logistic request saying if red circuits, the amount of red circuits is less than 50 in our network, it can work. Obviously it needs power. And he's going to export into there, and you can see the robots are now going to very slowly, these are what we call like hairdryer robots. They're just powered by little hairdryers, wind-powered robots. And they're going to bring them over, and they're heading over here to bring to this request chest. And there you go. So robots are super cool. You can do some really crazy stuff with them once you get into like mega bases and stuff. But there you go. So that's basically the basics of the logistics network. I know we didn't actually like physically do a lot. I know I'm being attacked too this episode, but it is a fairly large explanation to explain all this. So we're just going to set this to like 50 as well. So they're eating my power. This is not good. We kind of need that. And I'm going to end the episode here, guys, and go deal with those punks. I need to do some base clearing for sure. Probably on my stream tomorrow or something. Anyway, I hope that was a good explanation. If you have further questions or anything, do leave them below in the comments. And next episode, we may start working towards building rocket parts, because that's kind of our next objective here. We have all the science done, which is a huge accomplishment. And yeah, I'm super excited. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Any questions, thoughts, leave below. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.